You're listening to Nicksology on ESPN 1700. Buckle up as anything goes and having fun is the only rule we have. Now here's your host, Nick Apostolopoulos.
Are you laughing at me again already, Steve? All right, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to Nicksology. We have a packed house today. It's a party here at ESPN Studios. Jesse Ibanez had Mike Skubik from Old Harbor the hour before us, and full disclosure, we were drinking in the green room, so it's going to be a fun day. As the man said, this is Nicksology. I'm your host, Nick Apostolopoulos, with 619 Vodka. You can follow us on Nicksology.com, Facebook.com/Nicksology, and of course Instagram and Twitter, NicksologySD. NicksologySD on Facebook. On Instagram and Twitter. Man, we've got a crazy show today. We've got Latitude 33 Brewing here. We've got is anybody left at the brewery? I think we have the whole staff here. We've got Mike, Casey, Adam, and Alex from Latitude 33. And then we have Gold Coast Mead here too, which is awesome. Woo! Frank and Natalie. Okay, see, I'm so bad with names. So I know your names, I just don't know who they belong to. That's all right. That's only because I have them written down. So but yeah, so Gold Coast Mead. So I was really excited when I ran into you guys at the Beer and Music Fest, because one, your product's awesome, and two, you don't see a lot of mead. We'll get into that, but my experience with mead is you're driving home from Palm Springs, and you stop at one of those little roadside things, and they have bottles of mead there, like raspberry mead and this, and you go, oh, that sounds interesting, and you buy it, and it's the worst stuff you could ever drink. So I was really excited. Your guys' stuff is awesome. Tell us about mead. Like, what makes real mead versus that stuff you see on the roadway?
Thanks. We like to call that kind of mead Renaissance Fair mead, which has
that's exactly what it seems. Yeah, that's a great description.
It has its place, but we came across this process of making mead with ale yeast. It's much lighter, much more refreshing. So we started calling it San Diego style mead because it's the kind of mead you want to drink on a hot day. Take honey, mix it with water, ferment it with ale yeast, and you get a much more effervescent, lighter bodied, honey forward but balanced mead.
Yeah, I like it. What are we drinking right here now?
So we got Orange
Do you
Blossom.
guys have some too?
Which is like this quintessential mead. Orange Blossom honey, San Diego spring water from Palomar Mountain, ale yeast. Should have a ton of honey up front, but the finish should be pretty dry and pretty refreshing. Pairs great with a cheese course or really anything.
I like it, and you can taste that Orange Blossom. So I like honey, but I'm not a huge connoisseur. But I happen to have bought recently. I have some clover honey at home, and every time I taste that, I'm like, oh man, you can really taste the flower it came from. And obviously that's, when you go to Julian and look at the honeys, they have 27 different kinds, right? Is that what you use to determine the character of the mead too? Basically just the base of the honey?
So there's a couple different ways to approach your recipe making for mead. When you have a varietal honey that just screams varietal character, like Orange Blossom or Avocado Blossom or Sage Blossom, that's enough to build a mead off of.
Right, okay.
But if you've got a generic kind of wildflower where the bees are just gathering nectar from whatever flowers are out there, then it'll have a different character based on the place. And so you got a huge opportunity to make something awesome that way.
And then not to get too deep into the bees, although you guys are, one of the sort of missions is sustainable bee stuff, right?
Definitely.
But how do they determine, maybe this is not a question for you. How do they they obviously don't pen the bees in and go, okay, you can only touch these flowers. How do they get those varietals of honey?
So the beekeepers will put the hives out in a grove of oranges, for instance, and those flowers will just be everywhere. But the bees will tell each other, hey, go to these trees. This is where the nectar is.
Okay.
It's pretty awesome. They do this dance. We showed it with robots. It's awesome.
The bee dance, the honey dance. So that's to tell. But if they're right in the middle of them, do they really need the dance to know where to go?
In the wild, yes. When they're dropped in the middle of an orange grove, they're everywhere. So that's what they focus on.
Okay. So talk to us about the different kinds of mead. There are different categories of mead. Obviously, you talked about the Renaissance Fair stuff, but what are the different kinds of meads? Because, like I said, I'm just used to that syrup. That syrup in a bottle, basically.
So there's a whole tree of mead. The family history of mead is really deep, really long, because it goes back at least 9,000 years to China. 7,000 BC is the first archaeological evidence of mead. But they can be broken down into four major categories. So you've got just straight honey meads, which are called traditional meads. You got meads made with spices and herbs called methyglins. That's actually where the word medicine came from.
Oh, okay.
Drinking mead made with spices and herbs was like drinking medicine.
Okay.
And in English, that's where the word medicine came from, methyglin. Then you got meads with fruits, which are called melomels. And then you got meads with grains called braggots. So the lines have not really been set. There's a lot of blending between the four major categories, but we're focusing on traditional meads. We want to show honey forward meads that are balanced with some other element. So the second one that we poured.
Yeah, what am I drinking now? This is really good.
This
Thanks.
is the California oak.
This is less sweet.
Right.
Yeah, which I like. I mean, I like the other one too, but
With some oak to
Yeah.
give it some body and some tannin to really complement the honey character. And
so the oak comes from, this is like aged in oak barrels or something?
secondary in
Okay.
a bright tank with oak chips.
Oh, with oak chips.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can really taste the oak.
We sometimes call it man pain, but
It is kind of like that. So all the meads you do are in that first category, you said, basically, right? I mean, are you
focusing
for now,
on the
focusing on
traditionals.
that.
If you come up to the tasting room where we've got a bunch of experiments on tap, we'll throw habanero in a batch of Cali oak, and it'll be totally different. Technically a capsamel,
Okay.
but come up to the tasting room, and we're always experimenting and messing around.
So what's the basic process of making a mead?
Cool.
I
Yeah.
mean, obviously you start with the honey.
Right. Start with the honey. And dilute it down.
Okay, because unlike beers or whatever, you have the sugar, right? They're not converting anything first.
Exactly.
So you're basically starting with the fermentable product.
Exactly. Well,
Okay.
but you need to you need to dilute it, and then you need to add some nutrient because yeast need nitrogen to build healthy cell walls.
Okay.
And in beer and wine, that's readily available, but in honey, there's like no nitrogen. So we add nitrogen in the form of dead yeast. The
okay.
yeast then chew up the dead yeast, turn it into nitrogen lipids that then allow them to ferment the rest of the way.
Cool. And then that's basically it at that point? Do you filter it out, or how does it work? I mean,
Yeah,
it sounds like a pretty simple process, but it's obviously complicated, right?
Right. So like mead fell off because beer and wine got a lot cheaper and easier to make and a lot more consistent. Mead was like something that you packed in the cellar for 10 years and then pulled out when it had gotten really awesome. But we didn't have modern science back then. So modern science has started to look at mead, but on a much smaller percent than beer and wine. So we're still figuring this stuff out, and like we at Golden Coast Mead are trying things that no one else in the industry has tried because the industry is so young.
Right.
So what we do is honey, water, yeast, nutrient up front. We aerate the first 3 days to add some oxygen, make those yeast nice and healthy. We blow off some of the CO2 to raise the pH and lower the acidity. Getting a little nerdy
No,
here.
that's cool.
And our fermentations are taking about 2 weeks, whereas when we started, they took like 4 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the difference in that? What's changed that?
So using ale yeast versus wine yeast is a big difference.
Okay.
Wine yeast needs longer, but there are guys using wine yeast that take 2 weeks as well.
Okay.
So just paying attention to your nutrient load up front and your aeration degassing schedule, that'll help you make a much more vibrant, healthy fermentation.
Is there a tradition to it? Like, I mean, is ale... we're talking about this a lot with the breweries, right? There's a million kinds of yeast you can use, and even the distillers, like we have different things, can play around with that. Was mead traditionally made with just wine yeast, and ale yeast is a new addition?
So it's so epic. There is mead drunk all over the world.
Okay.
Africa, they made it with just whatever was floating around, and so different yeasts made different meads, and different traditions made different styles. So in an Ethiopian restaurant, you can ask for tej, and that's like the traditional Ethiopian honey wine style mead. Then the stuff that the Vikings were drinking was going to be totally different because that climate bred a totally different kind of bacteria that fermented, or fungus that fermented that mead.
Okay.
So we get to kind of borrow from all of these and come up with a style we think is best suited for Southern California.
Okay. And how much honey does this take? I mean, how are you guys sourcing this honey?
Yeah, so we use 1/3 of a pound of honey in every bottle. The bees have to visit 2 million flowers to make a pound of honey. That's over 600,000 flowers in every bottle of our mead,
Holy cow.
which is awesome. But we get
You're
it.
working those bees.
They work hard. They're up in Anaheim. Subi Honey Cooperative is where we get our honey, and it comes in drums. I mean, we're using 220 gallons of honey for one of our...
Oh, you can always pour more meat. Yeah.
There you go. So this is
You don't have to ask.
This is our sour orange blossom. Lactobacillus in here. It's really, to me, closer to a champagne than one of those Renaissance Fair style meads. Take the orange blossom honey, but then balance it with some lactic acid and then a fair amount of carbonation, and you get a really delicate, balanced mead that's just epic.
Are you guys trying this too? Is it making it down the line? Oh, this is really good.
Thanks.
So you consider this to be a sour?
Yes, yeah. Lactobacillus paracasi and casi, which are like your cheddar cheese lactobacillus. Sorry, should I not say that?
No, you can totally say that. Yeah. Yeah, because we have to take a break here. We'll come back. We'll talk about the bees and stuff. But real quickly, there's this whole sour beer thing going on,
right?
And it's taking me some getting used to. I'm not really a big fan of it, but this I really like. This to me isn't sour. It's just like a little mildly tart,
right?
But we do have to take a break. But when we come back, I want to talk to you guys because obviously there's a whole thing about bee population collapse, and you guys are working to help that out and all that kind of stuff. So I want to learn more about that.
Awesome.
We'll be right back after this.
Hey, Mr. Credit here. If you ever catch me at happy hour, you'll probably catch me drinking a vodka martini. I don't always drink vodka, but when I do, I drink 619 vodka because it's local vodka from right here in San Diego. I know the owner, and you can meet him too. Go to 619vodka.com and think 619 vodka when you're out there having a good time. That's 619vodka.com. And of course, remember to always drink responsibly.
CS Keys here to tell you about San Diego's handcrafted ultra premium vodka, 619 Vodka. It's distilled and filtered 5 times, gluten-free, and made from 100% pure mountain spring water for a smooth, clean finish. It's a 2-time silver medal winner and a 2-time gold medal winner already in 2013. America's Finest City has America's finest vodka that everybody can experience. Just go to the website, 619vodka.com. If you know like I know, you better tell somebody.
The more you learn about your insurance coverage, the more gaps you might find. Like how you thought you were covered for this.
Honey, someone stole my wedding ring.
When you're really only covered for this.
Honey, someone stole my Dakota ring.
Oh, well, it was weird anyway.
Or how with renter's insurance, you're covered for
valuables, electronics, bikes, karaoke machines, waffle makers, superhero pajamas.
And without it, you're covered for... Talk to a farmer's agent about what gaps might be hiding in your insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Home games are only half the season, and everybody knows the best fans travel. So when your team hits the road this season, be there. Be there to scream so loud your lungs hurt. Be there to paint your face, your whole body. Booking on Hilton.com gives you unbeatable prices on hotels across the U.S. from Wildcat Country to Tiger Territory. You can tailgate behind enemy lines, yell at the referee, and when you're done screaming your heart out, sleep your face off at one of Hilton's 12 unique brands so you can recharge and be ready for next week's matchup. Unbeatable prices on 12 unbeatable hotel brands only on Hilton.com.
At the New Alliance, they don't just talk about gender equality, they preach by example. Therefore, at least 50% of women participating, providing, and proposing to improve the country. It's time to include women in every space in which they can make a great difference. In their decisions, proposals, and initiatives, women listen to each other. New Alliance Women's Movement.
Guys, when you buy your clothes at DXL, you look good. But you feel like a rock star. So if you want to look and feel like a... You'll find all the brands you love, waist size 38 and up, all in one awesome store. DXL. You're looking good. Right now, Harbor Bay long sleeve tees are just $29.99 each when you buy 2 or more.
And now, back to Nicksology on ESPN 1700. Brought to you by 619 Vodka, who reminds you to always drink responsibly. Find out more at 619vodka.com.
All right, welcome back. Oh man, I'm glad we only do this an hour at a time. I'm already feeling these meads. Are these, by the way, are these stronger than normal?
Yes.
I mean, than like not the normal meads, but than beer and wine.
This line of mead is 12%.
Sweet. I've just found my new favorite love. And then calorie wise, just because obviously I need to care about that. Are they like more or less than beer? Because
less than beer, typically 25 calories per ounce.
This is awesome.
Yep.
I mean, I love beer, guys. Don't get me wrong. Latitude 33 dudes, but this is pretty sweet. All right, so is there a fourth one?
Yeah, so this is a bit of a traditional mead, but it's made with local grapefruit blossom honey. So from East County, San Diego. It's called Mirth in a Bottle, and it's kind of a throwback to our original mead recipe. So you're going to get more like the port and dessert wine notes out of it, but the citrus from the grapefruit should really come through, and it's pretty special. You can get it at the tasting room.
That's really good. Oh, man. Yeah, so just to reset, we're talking to Gold Coast Mead. We've got Frank Golbeck here and Natalie as well. Frank, I want to back up too. So your grandfather was an apple farmer,
right,
in San Bernardino,
right?
And then, but I was reading in your bio that the reason you got into this is because you tried one of his meads.
Yeah.
So he was separately that doesn't obviously go with apple farming, right? So he was also just like was it a hobby?
Yeah, it was to keep him busy in retirement. He had an apple fermenting sideline, and he did some berry wine, and then he threw some mead in there too. And when the mead would come out, people would just start laughing. I was like 8 years old, and I would see people just transform and ask my grandpa what he was serving these folks, and he's like, "Oh, it's an adult drink made from honey." So it really stuck with me.
Not for you. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, no, this is so. Tell me about this one again. Sorry.
Yeah, so this one's grapefruit blossom honey. So
that's what I taste. Okay.
Yeah, there's gonna be like a really grapefruit rind quality.
It always blows me away how much you can taste just from the flower, right? You're not putting fruit in this. It's just the honey. The bees can pull that out of the flower. It's crazy.
It's wonderful. I mean,
I wonder if bees care what kind of flowers when they make honey. If they care.
Yes.
They do?
They do.
So they have an affinity? Okay.
They do.
Okay. So if you put them in an orange blossom grove, are they like, oh man, I was really hoping for grapefruit today?
No, they're pretty into that. They're pretty into orange blossom.
Okay.
Different nectars have different sugar concentrations.
There's clover, I'm trying to think of all the different ones you can see. And so, sorry, go ahead.
Those are the ones that are like commercially available, right? On a big scale.
Right.
But, like if you get to know a small beekeeper,
right,
they know what flowers are blooming each month,
right,
and they can harvest a specific crop of like just totally random. Buckwheat is one of the more well-known one. Avocado blossom is another one. Sage blossom is another one.
See, now you've got me excited because we've been talking. So with 619, we're going to be doing some infusions with the vodka, and people have been asking me for a long time for a honey, and in my mind, I'm going, that's boring. It's just, you really, what am I going to do, just pour honey and vodka? But if we could do something cool with this flavor profile in there, it's way different than just because in my head, I'm picturing Renaissance mead, honey, vodka, like just soury, syrupy kind of crap. But this is cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So talk about the bees and how. Oh, sorry, backing up because I really do care about this. Do you guys use raw honey?
So raw honey
is that allowed? Like, how does it work? Okay.
In the Mirth series, yes.
Okay.
And that's like 80 gallons at a time.
Okay.
For the 1,000-gallon batches we're doing, our supplier filters it, but we envision changing the honey market.
Okay.
Right now, honey is
hard to find raw honey.
At scale, for sure.
Okay.
Like a drum of raw honey is basically impossible.
Really?
Yeah.
Because these crazy. Is it regulation or is it just paranoia or what is it?
It's the market.
Okay.
In America, we consume 2.5 times what we produce of honey domestically.
Okay.
So like 200 million pounds made, but 500 million pounds all over the world.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's a huge honey laundering issue.
So there's like boats like cruising into the port with honey?
Oh yeah, like when you go to
like
these
oil tankers but full of honey?
Honey packers, it's like Indiana Jones,
Really? Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Just drums full, up to 5 levels of honey drums. It's crazy. So what the small local guys can do is sell everything at the farmer's market if it's raw.
Right.
So they don't.
And that's what they do. Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So if there's so much honey demand and so much honey being produced, why are the bees dying? What's going on?
Yeah.
Is that only a U.S. thing or is it a worldwide thing?
No, it's definitely been worldwide. Australia is the only continent that hasn't been affected by colony collapse disorder.
And this is a virus that affects the bees?
So they call it a disorder because it's a function of 5 problems, and the evidence is very difficult to collect because the bees just disappear from the hive. There's no indication of why the hive died off, but USDA in 2014 published a study that said it was the combination of 5 things: a virus, a fungus, a mite that vectors the virus and the fungus, the stress of migratory beekeeping, where you put the bees on the back of trucks and drive them up to the Central Valley to go pollinate the almonds. And it's like sending your kids to camp, they get all the other diseases.
But there aren't already bees up there?
There's
I have my issues with almond growers anyway, but so yeah, I guess it's just confusing to me because obviously they, when you see bees, there's giant populations of them, right? But I guess they just get wiped out all at once.
Right. 30 to 70% of commercial hives will die in a year. And
really?
Yeah, and the beekeepers have just dealt with this by keeping a certain stock at home to breed the next year.
I was going to say, so are there bee breeders too? And that's all they do is breed bees?
Right.
I don't want to get in. Think about how you do that.
A lot of corn syrup.
Yeah, let's get into bee breeding.
Actually, it was the guy in Fallbrook that developed one of the major technologies they rely on.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does Gold Coast Mead, what are you guys doing? How does making mead help the bee population?
So we imagine changing the honey market. Right now, honey is just a byproduct of pollination services. So these big guys with thousands of hives ship their hives up to the Central Valley, get paid like $200 per hive that's alive, pollinates the almond groves, and a lot of the time they'll just leave them up there because they're too sick and dead to bring home. So that is, we think, a fundamentally flawed business model. We think if beekeepers got paid more for their honey, and we can add a lot more value through fermentation to honey than pretty much any other market.
So that's weird. By the way, I'm out of mead. Just a small note. But that's weird. So. Because I guess, I'm just thinking out loud, but bees obviously, so bees serve two purposes, right? One is that they pollinate stuff, which I never thought of as a commercial application, but clearly it is, right? And then secondarily, they make honey that we all like to eat. But are there just honey making operations that don't care about the byproduct of the fact that the bees are out pollinating plants, or is it always intermingled like that?
If you're a bee farmer, you're making your cash on pollination, and honey is just a sideline.
It's just left over, and you might as well sell it and make some money out of it.
Unless you're like an all-natural beekeeper who's selling at the farmers markets,
right? Which
some of my friends are. Mikolic's out in Temecula, Rex Christensen down in Oceanside, Hillary Kearney, his girl next door beekeeping. She actually will host a hive in your backyard, so you pay her to take care of a hive in your backyard, and then you get the honey from it.
Wow, that's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
all right, I'm gonna get that information after the show. I want to put that on the website. That sounds really cool. Although I don't know if I want. I mean, it's funny because I have succulent in the front yard, and the bees are always all over the little flowers on that.
Right.
And every 3 or 4 years, because I have an old house in North Park, and so the chimney and the fireplace is old school, where on the base of the fireplace there's a like iron hatch. And what you're supposed to do, I don't understand how this worked or why, because you can just scoop the stuff out, but you're supposed to put the ash down there, right? And then on the outside of the house is a little door, and you open the door and clean the ash there. Now, why you have to put it through that little, I don't know. You could just, but the door on the outside doesn't seal quite right. It's got a little thing, and every 3 or 4 years they start building a hive inside there, and I'll end up with I'll come outside, and the outside of the thing is covered with bees. And we don't leave them there, which is kind of sad. We have somebody come and take them out, but they start flying up into the house. It gets really bad, so I have to get rid of it. But it'd be cool to just have a separate beehive somewhere.
Totally.
And then actually get honey out of it. I'm not going to get honey out of the fireplace.
San Diego relaxed. The city of San Diego relaxed restrictions on beekeeping a couple of years ago. So now if you have a 6,000 square foot lot, could keep 2 hives.
I don't have that much space. Okay. I live in a tiny house. That sucks.
I might have gotten the numbers wrong.
No,
so you might want to look
cool.
into it. Yeah.
But so what can we do? What do you guys do? What are the steps are they taking to solve this problem? Because obviously bees are important. I mean,
right.
If you're saying these guys are getting 99% of their money from pollination, right, and agriculture, basically, that's a big deal, right? I mean, so they care too.
It's huge. So we envision changing the honey market the way Patagonia clothing changed the cotton market, right? They were like, oh, we're making...
See, I don't know about that. I'm not hipster enough.
Oh, that's cool. It's an example of business changing markets,
sure,
right? So Patagonia went to their cotton suppliers, and they're like, hey, cotton's really dirty, and it kind of messes up this earth that we love to run around on. So what if you went organic? And they were like, that's crazy. And they were like, well, we're not going to buy from you if you don't. And a few of them changed, and now Patagonia has an organic cotton line, and there's an organic cotton industry. In America, you can't really get organic honey. Right. You got to go to Brazil, where they float hives down on barges down the Amazon River.
What?
Yeah, and the bees are pollinating the rainforest in the Amazon.
That's crazy.
Because the bees have to have 3 miles.
So are there naturally bees in the Amazon, or is this
Not really. Our European honeybee came over from Europe. There's 6 bees that make honey.
So what do the bees feed on in the Amazon? That's crazy.
Every flower. Yeah, they're
have you
like
tried Amazon honey? Does it taste good?
I have. It is awesome.
Does it taste like a forest?
It's just really dark and rich and intense.
Okay, that's pretty insane.
It's cool.
Okay,
but we hope that we can bring organic honey back to the U.S.
But to do what you're talking about, it sounds like. I mean, I don't know if we can drink enough mead to affect that change, right? I mean, is it? Do we need to influence the people who are just buying honey to put on toast too? Like, it sounds to me like it needs to be a lot bigger thing, right?
Well, so for honey on toast, that's really just a commodity. For mead, it's like wine grapes, right? In the 50s and 60s, wine grapes were a commodity. But then Gallo and Mondavi, these companies started differentiating. And
but how much is the mead market growing? Like, I mean, are you guys the only? I'm assuming you're the only mead producer in San Diego County, right?
That's correct. Well, there's a couple like startups that have jumped up and then dropped down in fits and starts, and we totally support them because more mead, more good mead means more education, more mead in people's mouths, more mead being talked about. So we want to help whoever's interested in making a meadery succeed in San Diego County. But we think that the opportunity to grow is huge. We've seen the mead market grow by 130% annually since 2013.
Well, that makes sense because now you can actually get good mead, right? But it's a whole thing of educating people on the fact that it exists, right?
Absolutely. And that's why we got Natalie.
Yeah. No, and that's why I ran into her at the thing. Yeah, it was awesome. No, and these are so good, dude. And so how do you... do you find that you're going after, like, who hasn't drank mead before that would like it? Like, are you going after wine drinkers or beer drinkers? Because I feel like beer drinkers are a whole different breed, right? This, to me, is more of a competitor with a wine product, maybe a sparkling-ish wine, because it doesn't have the hops and all that kind of stuff. It's light and fresh, and you could drink it at, with your pinky up at a party kind of thing. But is that kind of where, how it's evolving?
So we're open to everyone coming, but our ideal customer is someone who looks at the beer aisle and is like, oh gosh, how do I make a decision? And then goes, whoa, that's made from honey? That's awesome. I like honey. And then goes, and it's gluten-free, and it's 12%, and it's made locally. I want that product. And I'm going to dance when I drink it.
12%, by the way. I've ranted on this show before about this whole session movement where people are trying to make lower alcohol content things. And my thing is, if I go into a thing and I see it's not my sole way I choose a product, but if I go into it and see a board full of beer, the first thing I start looking for is ABV. And then I go, is that something I could drink? Like, if it's high ABV but it doesn't sound good, okay, I'll pass on it. But otherwise, I'm not looking for like the 3 or 4% thing. So I like the 12% part. That's really good.
Well, we do imagine a market that encompasses a space for everybody. So session meads we're working on, but like technically,
you're working on session meads?
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't have made fun of them.
No. I at the tasting room, people do a flight, and it's like, all right, we're feeling good. We'll take some bottles and head out. We want to.
I was just going to say, I'll clarify. They're going to be around 7%. We're not going to make a 3 to 4%.
Oh, good. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. See, that's still a solid mead. Okay.
It's all relative in mead talk.
Right, exactly. Well, sweet. That's awesome, man. These are so cool. Thanks for coming in. I want to just, before I forget, goldcoastmead.com.
Yep.
And then where can people go to the tasting room?
In Oceanside, off Oceanside Boulevard in College, about 10 minutes east of the 5.
All right, sweet. We'll post, you know what, send me all the info too, and we'll post it on the website when we post the show. We'll take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to switch gears and go Latitude 33 and try some beers. In fact, the Honey Hips beer, which I had a little bit of in the green room, it's pretty amazing. So we'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Nicksology on ESPN 1700, brought to you by 619 Vodka, who reminds you to always drink responsibly. Find out more at 619vodka.com.
Hey, Mr. Credit here. If you ever catch me at happy hour, you'll probably catch me drinking a vodka martini. I don't always drink vodka, but when I do, I drink 619 Vodka because it's local vodka from right here in San Diego. I know the owner, and you can meet him too. Go to 619vodka.com and think 619 Vodka when you're out there having a good time. That's 619vodka.com. And of course, remember to always drink responsibly.
CS Keys here to tell you about San Diego's handcrafted ultra premium vodka, 619 Vodka. It's distilled and filtered 5 times, gluten-free, and made from 100% pure mountain spring water for a smooth, clean finish. It's a 2-time silver medal winner and a 2-time gold medal winner already in 2013. America's Finest City has America's Finest Vodka that everybody can experience. Just go to the website, 619vodka.com. If you know like I know, you better tell somebody.
This is John Feinstein with a CBS Sports Minute. The Los Angeles Lakers clearly aren't going to win very many basketball games this season. They are both too young and too old, and they also have the misfortune to play in the NBA West. They're off to a 1-5 start, and if they somehow win 35 games, Byron Scott should get Coach of the Year votes. But the Lakers will be in the news all season because it seems as if people are addicted to speculating on Kobe Bryant's future. This will be his last season. It won't be his last season. He's hinted this might be his last season. Phil Jackson, Mr. Know-It-All, wondered if he might finish his career someplace other than L.A. Seriously, Phil? Bottom line, Kobe's 37 and he's making $25 million to play this season. And then he'll walk off into the L.A. sunset. I'm John Feinstein.
Now at the Home Depot, get the Kidda Remote Link Monitor for just $99. It works with your existing smoke or carbon monoxide alarms. Nothing more to buy, no more monthly fees. If an alarm triggers anywhere in your house, it alerts you through your smartphone or tablet, wherever you are. It's as simple and easy and affordable as that. Let's do this. The Kidda Remote Link Monitor, only $99 and only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. While supplies last, U.S. only.
The martini lunches are gone, but so is the need for an old-school business phone system. More than 300,000 customers have dropped their hardware-heavy phone systems and elevated their business communications into the cloud with Ring Central. Set up multiple users' devices with voice, text, conferencing, Salesforce integration, and now online meetings with HD video, and manage your entire system for $24.99 a month per user. Elevate your business into the cloud with a smarter phone solution. Sign up for a free trial at ringcentral.com.
All right, welcome back. Man, the drinks are flowing. So thanks to Frank and Natalie from Gold Coast. Man, that mead is awesome.
Awesome.
It was, yeah. But now, like I said, we're going to switch gears and talk to Latitude 33. We basically have the Beatles over here. We have Mike, Casey, Adam, and Alex.
Absolutely.
And according
glad to be here.
Right. So Adam, trombone.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And then Casey, apparently you're capable of growing the best mustache in the industry, but you didn't have time before the show.
I can verify. He also has a girlfriend. Doesn't like
a girlfriend unfriendly to mustaches. Is that the deal? Oh man. Oh geez. Yeah. Yeah. So if you just be as close as you can when you talk, guys. It's a little hard to hear on the mic sometimes. So yeah, Latitude 33, guys. So we're starting off here. Dive right in, man. The Honey Hips Strong Blonde.
That's right.
And this is I taste the orange in this too, right? So this is orange, blossom honey, and clover. You said too?
Yeah. Clover honey, orange blossom honey, both from Nicksology. Just want to give a shout out to Nicksology honey.
Yeah.
Temecula. They're phenomenal. The highest quality honey that we could find.
Awesome. And so when you introduce the honey, is the honey something do you introduce the honey pre-ferment, or is it something as a flavoring after the ferment? How does that work, guys?
I'll go ahead and take that one. So what we do is we add the honey in at the end of the boil.
Okay.
And so that helps, one, sanitize it to make it sure that you don't get any infections in your beer and things like that. But you also you get a lot of that honey character, and you get the nice fruity aroma from the orange blossom honey, but it also pairs really well with the robustness of the clover honey.
Yeah, no, that's because I was saying too, I have that clover honey at home, and it's just so tasty. So let's talk about Latitude 33. You guys have been around since 2011?
That's right.
And then, but Mike, you came on afterwards, right?
Fairly recently.
Okay.
Yeah. We actually had kind of a few obstacles to overcome early on. We were kind of, I guess, the exception to this craft beer quadruple year-over-year movement.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Do you know? I asked this question. Do you know what number brewery you guys were?
Oh man, I'm not sure.
Okay.
In 2011, we were probably number.
That's pretty low number.
Yeah, we were probably in the top 5. The first 5 in North County.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about San Diego overall. But we were pretty early on.
Okay.
So, there was kind of a fairly recent complete brand overhaul, as well as the team. We ran into some issues, some different brewing management philosophies. That was an issue, but we brought on a phenomenal, young, motivated team, all very open-minded and excited to learn and collaborate on the craft beer process.
Nice.
So it's very unique in that way. We don't have a rock star commercial brewer per se, although Look at this handsome devil.
I'd call him a rock star.
I'm trying to picture him with a mustache. I think it'd be awesome.
Oh, you don't even know.
You get the full curl.
You don't even
the whole
know.
thing. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
So
I think you should just tell the girlfriend it's like a requisite of employment.
I did.
Oh no,
I did.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like way ahead of you, Nick.
It's like when you're 4 times because of it.
When you work at Craft and Commerce, you have to have suspenders, and when you work at Latitude 33, you got to grow the mustache.
That's right. So
she's starting to understand that now. Finally.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah,
cool. But and things are kind of blowing up there in Vista now too, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. So
absolutely. In the last year, we've had quite a remarkable journey. Stepping in, I was one of basically 3 employees of the company. Well, when we did the management and team overhaul, and now we're at about 15 employees, 4 on the production staff. We have 3 brewers. And an exclusive sales team as well. So we're growing rapidly. We've quadrupled this year,
right,
for the first time since opening. So
nice.
It's very exciting.
So what's the general philosophy behind the beers? I mean, we've had probably at least a half a dozen brewers on at this point. And everyone kind of has what they're trying to. I mean, obviously you're going to kind of make all the different kinds of beer, but is there a driving philosophy behind the kind of beers Latitude 33 wants to create versus everyone else?
Absolutely, and it's not. I wouldn't say, and maybe you guys can agree or disagree on this, but it's not necessarily intentional. We don't go into it saying, this is our niche. This is what we're going to brew.
Nobody else is doing this. We're going to do that. Yeah.
It's very much been an evolution of Latitude 33 and the people involved. So I think one of the most important things that a craft in this highly competitive sphere, one of the most important philosophies that a craft beer leader can have is open-mindedness,
right,
adaptation, and basically be able to look to their customers in order to determine the future of the company.
Sure. No, but this beer in particular is really good.
Thank you. It's dangerous, though. Be careful. Yeah,
I know.
Careful.
Yeah, you said 8.3 off the air. I'm like, yeah. Really good.
High ABV, yeah.
So is this like a wheat beer? What's it considered?
There is wheat in the beer.
I can taste a little bit, but it's not really like a...
It's not heavily... There's not a ton of wheat in it. It's mostly just the barley, then slight wheat. And also, we end up adding sweet orange peel and rose hips to it, too. It gives a little... the sweet orange peel works really well with the orange blossom. And
careful of trade secrets there, bud.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I know. Wait, Rose. Wait, hang on. I need to write this down.
Rose, this temperature for this long.
Right. How many pounds? Right.
We'll just send you the brew log.
Right. Yeah. Send that to me. We'll post it on the website for everyone to see. Yeah.
Transparency is key.
Yeah.
With Honey Hips, it's just pretty straightforward, refreshing, clean tasting beer in general. So not too much hop character in it at all, but the honey gives it the nice aroma and they're just very straightforward beer. And that's one thing that we try and do is just keep quality control, keep being consistent with the beers that we're having at the moment. And
yeah, it's really all about maintaining consistency. Once we design a product that people can rely on, we need to make sure that we can not just promote that brew, but also provide it on a consistent basis.
Right.
And so we're not, pulling the rug out from our customers.
No, and I'm always curious about that too, because we talked earlier. Mike Skubik was on the hour before us, and we had him on here a couple weeks ago. And we've had Ray from Kill Devil and different stuff. And in the distilling world, you kind of come up with your product, and once you're done, your goal is consistency.
Absolutely.
In the beer world, it's a little bit different, right? Because you kind of want to always be experimenting, but also have stuff that your customers know they can come back and get and really like. Like, what's the process for coming up with a beer like this? Like, is it hey, I have this great idea, let's try it out and make a few batches, or does it evolve over time? Like, oh, we've done this one for 6 months now, but I have this idea to add some rose hips to it. Like, how does that work?
It's kind of a blend of both of those strategies, but again, that goes back to the structure of our production team. Very collaborative. We all get together, we grab, each one, basically have a pretty informal meeting and say, this is the direction, this is something we'd like to try. Casey, Adam, bring your 10 favorite IPAs or double IPAs or whatever style we're we're going for, and then we're going to analyze, very careful quality control, market research.
By informal, he means they just drink the entire.
Well, no, I was getting to that, and I was going to invite myself to the next session. If you ever need to get in a room and try 10 different IPAs,
they're monthly. We'd love to have
I'm your
you.
man. Yeah, I'm totally your man. Yeah, no, because part of the reason I asked is because obviously, like you guys were saying, you have off batches, but that's just an off thing. Sorry, the Gold Coast guys, but. But you obviously, at some point, you have to try things and go, yeah, that didn't work like we thought, and then you can ship that beer to my house, whatever you don't want to sell to the public. But like some breweries, they'll just make stuff and and just throw it out and see what happens. Do you guys, like I said, I guess I'm just curious as to how crazy you get. Like, are you constantly trying? Do you always have like 2 or 3 experimental brews going at the same, at any given time?
Yeah. Okay. A lot of the times we just kind of we'll get ideas in our head. We'll talk about it, kind of collaborate about it, and be like, let's try it out. Do a little R&D batch of it just to kind of see how it turns out. And if it starts selling and people are liking it, we get good reviews on it. We'll be like, we'll start considering doing something else with it and making little changes here and there, whatever we feel needs to be changed, and kind of push it out there. Like the Blood Orange, for example, was our most recent, and it really just kind of, we did a couple kegs of it at first. People liked it. We were getting great reviews on it. Then we're like, well, why not do a little bigger batch? Stepped it up a little bit, and got great feedback from our distributor, everyone else. So it kind of, like with most of the brews I feel like we're going to be coming out with, like it's going to be the same process, just experimentation, making sure everything, like just if people like it and we like it.
And number one really is do we like it? It's hard to serve something or promote a brew, and I'm sure this goes for you guys as well over at Golden Coast Mead.
Totally.
Do we like to drink it?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the number one. And then we can basically. We can work with it. If we like it, we can work with it.
Specifically, Adam seems to be the mad scientist in the brewery. He comes up to me and goes, "You know what? I've got a cotton candy and marshmallow and Rocky Road ice cream IPA. I need you to try right now."
See, that's pretty awesome.
And I'll do it. I'll try it.
That's right. Out of duty, you'll go ahead and try it. Right.
That's cross-eyed bear.
Yeah. That's
I just give it a beer and say, "Hey, drink this."
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, is this beer?" No.
I just mix a whole bunch of stuff together.
I just wanted to get you. I just want to see if you drink it.
This came out of the drain. Gotcha.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh man, yeah. So I want to try the Blood Orange too, but I'm working my way through this giant, which I'm not complaining about, but this giant pour. I'm almost through though. I'm doing pretty good.
Good for you. Well done.
Mead before beer, you're in the clear. That's the age-old.
I was wondering what that was, because it's the liquor and beer thing, right?
No, that's how it started.
And I was trying to figure out how to structure the show today. Is that? Oh man, too funny. Well, yeah. So if you guys ever have batches that don't work out, totally let me know. I'll take them off your hands.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, with 15 employees, we pretty much take care of that already.
I was going to say, great. Oh man,
rip the labels off and go to town.
That's
right. And by the way, since basically the 4 key guys are here right now, is there just a giant taste test going on at the brewery right now? Like when you get back, will anyone be awake?
I'm kind of worried about Gator.
I wouldn't say we're the key guys. There's some girls that work for us that are probably more influential than the 4 of us.
And they're the ones back there getting hammered.
We're the foot soldiers.
Number one, shout out my very recent wife, Treasure. We got married less than a month ago. She is literally the backbone to me, and she supports me in every way. And she has really provided just an amazing source of energy and power and love for me. So it's been amazing.
Awesome, dude. Well, congrats, man.
Our first lady.
Congratulations.
Our first lady, that's right.
Nice. The first lady of Lat 33.
That's right.
Sweet. All right, well, we're up against a break. We'll take a break, and then when we come back, I want to try the Blood Orange and talk to you about some more beer stuff. All right, guys, we'll be right back after this.
All right.
Hey, Mr. Credit here. If you ever catch me at happy hour, you'll probably catch me drinking a vodka martini. I don't always drink vodka, but when I do, I drink 619 vodka because it's local vodka from right here in San Diego. I know the owner, and you can meet him too. Go to 619vodka.com and think 619 vodka when you're out there having a good time. That's 619vodka.com. And of course, remember to always drink responsibly.
CS Keys here to tell you about San Diego's handcrafted ultra premium vodka, 619 Vodka. It's distilled and filtered 5 times, gluten-free, and made from 100% pure mountain spring water for a smooth, clean finish. It's a 2-time silver medal winner and a 2-time gold medal winner already in 2013. America's Finest City has America's Finest Vodka that everybody can experience. Just go to the website, 619vodka.com. If you know like I know, you better tell somebody.
Sid's Carpet Barn, come on down, come on down. The highest quality, the lowest prices in town.
Since 1950, Sid's Carpet Barn has been San Diego's floor covering leader. After 60 years in business, Sid's is still your everyday lowest price bargain leader for floor covering. No one beats Sid's Carpet Barn on price, quality, or customer service, and we have next day installation. Sid's Carpet Barn, your discount floor covering leader. With carpet from 59 cents a square foot, laminate and porcelain tile from 99 cents, and beautiful hand-carved and distressed wood flooring from $2.99. Sid's is your one-stop floor covering store. Come to Sid's Carpet Barn, where you can trust that your floor covering needs will be solved at a price that you can afford. Remember, Sid's Carpet Barn always offers next day installation. Sid's Carpet Barn, 132 West 8th Street, National City, in North County at 285 East Carmel Street, San Marcos off the 78, and our newest showroom at 7666 Miramar Road.
Right now at Fuller Ford, buy an all-new 2015 Focus 4-door sedan S for the low net cost of only $12,947 with a Fuller discount of over $3,000. Go in and see if you can qualify for an additional bonus of $3,000. Retail bonus customer cash, retail customer cash, and a military appreciation discount. Hurry in, only one at this price. VIN number 306412. Or buy America's 2015 Truck of the Year for a net cost of only $24,947. This all-new 2015 F-150 4x2 Super Cab, featuring the aluminum alloy body, could be yours, including over $9,300 in discounts off MSRP. Stop by Fuller Ford to see if you qualify today. One at this price. VIN number E75930. Offers expire 11/16/15. Go further with Fuller Ford. Great prices, great selection, and great deals, where they've treated you like family for over 60 years. Auto Park Drive off the 805 in the Chula Vista Auto Park.
All right, welcome back. Man, the breaks are almost more fun than the show sometimes. I got to tell you. Welcome back. So we're coming back here with Latitude 33. We have Mike, Casey, Adam, and Alex, and I actually know to whom those names belong now, which is awesome. And yeah, so now we're drinking the blood orange. So
absolutely.
So honey orange. So is that the reason I asked before? Do you guys do a lot of fruit or does that just happen to be what you brought today?
No, yeah, that's not by any means part of our, cliche kind of niche.
Okay.
It was.
I mean, these are awesome, and they fit perfectly with the mead too, which is killer.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah.
And I wish we'd have planned that, but this is just perfectly.
Wait, you didn't?
We did.
You could have lied. Yeah,
awesome. Just
run with it.
Sorry.
Yeah, the blood orange was kind of.
Dude, I didn't know who was coming on till this morning. So.
Us either.
I emailed you at 11:30 last night.
You're right. Exactly. Yeah.
The blood orange was Adam. You can speak to this. Kind of a happy accident, really. It was one of those fun conversations where we sat down and said, what's next? What do we want to do? And I think
cotton candy was out.
And I gotta say, cotton candy was way out.
Right.
But I think
it's all right, Adam. We'll get cotton candy in there one of these days.
One of these days.
Don't worry, I'm still pushing for
it.
Dude.
I think, and really the catalyst was the popularity. I have to shout out to Ballast Point with their grapefruit sculpin. Pretty revolutionary, and as far as I'm aware, it's outselling Sculpin. So they did a great job of taking an award-winning product and really turning it into something that is, it's outperforming.
They turned it into $173 million IPO is what they turned it into.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Just go public.
Not that I'm bitter or angry or anything.
Yeah, no. And James Murray and Jack White, if you're listening, we love you.
We do. James, I'll see you at the barbecue on Saturday. It'll be fun.
But really, we were talking. I think we had just got kind of a fresh batch from Amaretti, which is the highest quality natural flavoring, which all of these macro craft beer guys use. It's the highest quality.
Okay.
And we started just playing around and just basically going back and forth and saying, all right, let's dose some.
I had a couple flashbacks to my home brewing days where I actually boiled water and got this extract nice and sanitized, and then dosed it into the keg, this sort of slurry.
Right.
And it turned into a product that sold out of 5 gallons in 5 hours at our tasting room, just by word of mouth.
Nice.
And it,
Mad scientist.
No, it's cool. Sometimes you just find stuff like that. Like I used to homebrew. I haven't in years, but I used to homebrew a lot. In fact, I was an early customer down at before Ballast Point was Ballast Point, when they
Home
were
Brew Mart.
the Home Brew Mart down on Linda Vista Road, and I went in there one time and bought. I don't know why, because I'm an ale guy, but I was like, we're having a summer party. I made 2 5-gallon kegs, and I was like, I want to make a wheat beer. Mm-hmm. So I'm in there getting the stuff, and the guy's like, you should try blueberry wheat. And there's like a little extract. Like it was like the size of a lipstick thing of blueberry extract. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll try it. And I brewed the beer, and I did everything, and I threw the blueberry in. And at the time, I wasn't kegging, I was bottling. And so it was supposed to sit in there for a couple weeks, right? Well, the party was, I think I bottled it like 3 days before the party. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, well, I'm like, you can try it. It's probably not going to be that good. And it was gone like that. It turned out so good because much like this blood orange, like it was just because I was afraid I was going to end up with blueberry beer.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But this, it's just a really light hint of blood orange. It tastes great.
Mm-hmm.
How
do you like that aroma?
That's my favorite part.
That's it. I mean,
it's awesome. And blood orange is one of those things it's not it's a common fruit, I guess. I mean, people know what it is, but you don't see it around. Yeah, but it's very unique, and it's got a great flavor. And it pairs well with the IPA. Like the hops aren't too strong, but you have that little bit of hoppiness. I really like that.
Yeah, it balanced really well with the dry hop that we used on this one.
Absolutely.
So
What kind of hop was it?
We were able to dry hop this with Citra, a great hop, such a nice citrusy aroma, and it pairs so well with the blood orange character. It's just all very complimentary throughout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The response we've got has been just fantastic at festivals and everything. I know Mike has dubbed it kind of the orange starburst, especially from the aroma.
No, it does a little bit like that, yeah.
Beer mosa. It's great.
From coming from the spirit side, that's why I ask all these questions, because I have such a respect for it, because there's I don't know, 100 different hops you could have put in here, like knowing which one and trying to figure it out. And obviously sometimes you try one that doesn't work, but that's a lot of it's a crazy skill to be able to come up with a beer like this. It just tastes so good.
Thank you. That means a lot, Nick.
All right, so I promised in the break I was going to throw a curveball at you, and I saw this on TV the other day. Any of you guys watch Stephen Colbert, the new show?
No. Occasionally.
I've seen the old show.
I'll dabble with
Stephen. So he's the reason I know about this. It hasn't gotten wider press. And I apologize in advance if any of you in the room are vegan. But if you're vegan, I have no problem with it. You don't want to, the crazy vegans don't even want honey, right?
Right.
Okay, fine. You want to miss out on this awesome mead? Knock yourself out. Do whatever you want. Don't eat whatever. Stop messing with my favorite, I can't say the S word. Stop messing with my stuff. So if I have no problem if you want to make a vegan product, but Guinness announced, and this is pretty funny because I didn't know they did this. Guinness announced that they're going to make their beer vegan friendly because it wasn't already vegan friendly, and the reason it wasn't already vegan friendly is because they use fish bladders to do part of the filtration. You're nodding your head over here, dude.
That's a product called Isinglass.
Yeah. What is it?
It's called Isinglass.
Fill me in, because I've never. Because Guinness is one of my favorite beers. I can drink that, all day long, and and so I didn't know.
It was one of the very first filtration products ever developed for making brighter beer.
Okay.
My history is a little bit off, so I won't be able to do the details, but it basically it caused the beer to just get a lot more clear. It helped everything just settle out to
which is perfect.
Yeah.
No, and so leave my. It just drives me nuts. If you want to eat mock meat, or you want to eat tofu, or you want to eat a turkey burger, great. Knock yourself out, but stop messing. If you want to eat, drink, and I'm upset beyond words. I want to swear, and I've been drinking the whole show, so I got to be really careful. It's just.
To me, there are a lot of more modern day technologies. I'm pretty sure that's a marketing thing that they're taking it out.
And it probably won't change the flavor. No, it's totally a marketing thing to collapse to the vegans.
Yeah,
it just drives me nuts because I'm like, you know what? Fine, you want to eat your mock, whatever. I don't care, but just leave my stuff alone. And it's close to my heart because I love Guinness. we're close to the end, but I'll tell a really quick story. I was at a bar one time back east. I was done with my work. I was going to sleep, flying home the next morning. I don't know anybody. I find this little Irish bar in Racine, Wisconsin, because you can find an Irish bar in any town. I'm drinking Guinness, and I'm watching Monday Night Football or something, and the girl comes up finally after a little bit, and I said, yeah, I'll have another one. She's like, really? And I'm like, am I like cut off? Am I too drunk or whatever? She's like, no, I just never seen anyone drink 11 Guinness in a row. And I was like, oh, wait, how many have I had? What? So I love Guinness, and it just drives me nuts that these flower hugging vegans can get in my way. I'm sure it's going to taste fine. It just pisses me off.
I got to be honest, that's not much of a curveball to us.
What he means is to those two over there, Adam and Casey. Mike and I looked at each other like, uh-oh.
For the record, there are vegans who will eat honey that has been harvested non-violently.
Oh, geez. I have a friend of mine who's a vegan who eats lamb because she's Greek, and that's just kind of a carve-out. I'm like, come on, people. Either be vegan or don't be vegan, but, oh, man. All right, well, we're up against the end of the show, guys, but thanks for coming out, man. Gold Coast Mead, yeah, Frank and Natalie, thanks for coming. The stuff is awesome. GoldCoastMead.com. Latitude 33, thanks for coming, guys. What's the website? I don't have it in front of me.
Lat33brew.com.
Lat33brew.com. Thanks very much. Awesome show. We'll see you right back here next week on Nicksology. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.